So today we'll see question number 3 of ISC 2010, and compared to other questions you'll find that this is of a slightly higher level. It is slightly difficult, and this is a common trait, like till all the papers of 2010 the levels were used to be slightly higher earlier. Okay, so let's see the question. The question is, you'll enter the number of paragraphs which will either be 1, 2 or 3. So the limit is 1, 2 or 3, and then that is to be followed by entering of a sentence, and they have given certain constraints, like a sentence may be terminated either by a full stop or a question mark. Once the sentence is entered, you will check the limit, that whether or not you'll enter the number, you'll check whether this number is within the given range or not. If it is in the range, we'll proceed with the frequency table as well as the number of words contained in the sentence. Otherwise, we'll simply display the message invalid entry. Okay. Hello, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So could I just read the question once?
Okay, sure, why not? So I'll just do it for you. So you have to input a paragraph containing n number of sentences where n is from 1 to 3. The words are to be separated with a single blank space and are in uppercase. It's given that they are in uppercase, you don't have to check for that. Then a sentence may be terminated either with a full stop or a question mark only. Any other characters may be ignored, and the operations to be performed are: accept the number of sentences. If the number of sentences exceeds the limit, an appropriate error message is displayed. Appropriate error message in this case is invalid entry. Otherwise, we proceed with the input. We find the number of words in the whole paragraph, that is part 1, and then you have to say find the frequency table and display it in the ascending order of the frequencies. Is the question clear now?
Yes, sir. Now it's clear.
Okay, so let's begin now. First, I'll try to show you what we are about to do, because like it's one thing to write a program without like if I have to strike a balance between the amount of memory taken and the efficiency, then it will be slightly difficult. And even though it is difficult, we'll use that approach. That means we will not be creating extra arrays, and we'll try to do it as efficiently as possible, keeping in mind that this has to be done within the time frame in the examination, right? Okay, so let me get hold of a whiteboard first. So there it is. Okay, so notice what is happening. User is entering a sentence. So let's say user enters to be or not to be. Not to be. So let's say this is the input, ending with a full stop. So if this is the input, what we'll do is we'll create two arrays. One array will be for the number of all the words, and we'll create one more array for the frequencies. Okay. So let's say the first one is for the word, so we'll call it word, and second word is for the frequency, so we'll call it frequency. Then obviously we'll move all the words in the first array, so it will become to be or not to be. As soon as this is done, if we say word dot length, we'll get the number of words. So that takes care of part 1 of the question. Okay, any doubts in this?
No, sir.
No. Now please understand, these two arrays will be of equal sizes. So the idea over here is that the 0th location will store the frequency of the 0th word in the first array. The first location will store the frequency of first word in the array, and so on. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5 in this case. And initially we make all this equal to 1, because if there is a word, it is occurring at least once, right? Now the
Yes, sir.
interesting part. So what we'll be doing is that we'll be taking two loops. The outer loop will run from this position till this position. And when we are checking for the first word, we'll check this first word against all the other words. That's the idea. So this is to be compared against this, and this. And then the second word will become compared against the remaining words. Then the third word will be compared against the remaining word, and so on. And now here comes the most important point. And that is, when we are comparing, let's say we are comparing 2. We will compare 2 with B, it is not equal. We'll compare 2 with OR, it is not equal. We'll compare 2 with not, it is not equal. But when we compare 2 with 2, it is equal. So at this point of time, what we'll do is, we will not be going towards the end every time. We'll take a variable, we'll call it limit, which will point to the last location. Okay. And whenever a match is found, like this 2 is equal to this 2, so what we'll do, we'll bring the last element over here. Okay. And then
Yes, sir.
we'll increase the frequency of this by 1. So this will become 1 plus 1. And next time, and then we'll say that this limit is not over here. Now this limit is over here. So what is happening is that whenever we are getting a repeated element, we are decreasing this limit, so we don't go till the last element, and then the last element is moved over here. Are you getting the point what is happening? So we are doing two
Yes,
things.
sir.
We are taking care of the redundant words also, because otherwise if you compare everything with everything, you will find the frequency of 2, but then you will again end up finding the frequency of 2 once more. This is what we are trying to avoid. So this is our way of doing it. And once this is done, we'll sort in the order of frequency, and whenever we are swapping the frequency, we'll swap the word also. Is the outline okay? Should we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's proceed with the actual thing. So I'll open the editor once more, and I do have a template ready. So input, and we'll first display the message system.out.print, and the message was, we'll copy paste the message from the first screen, and the message was enter number of sentences. So we'll copy this message over here, we paste it. There has to be a /t in the beginning, and this /t can be ignored, it's not required. So once the message is displayed, we'll say int. They haven't given any variable. No, they have given the variable n for the number of paragraphs. So we'll use the same variable over here. We'll say int n is equal to in dot next int. Okay, this is done. Now we'll check for the range. So if n is more than equal to 1 and n is less than 4, then we'll proceed normally, else we'll display the error message. So system.out.println, and the error message was, we'll first say output : spelling, we'll say output : n, and that is followed by invalid entry. So this is the message which they want us to display. So we'll go over here and we'll say invalid entry. So this is taken care of. Now if the thing is valid, we'll reach this if block, and then we'll create our class. We'll say class frequency. So here what we expect to do is, we want to create an object. We'll say frequency obj is equal to new frequency, and here we want to pass the sentence. I could directly also say over here that in on dot next line, but that doesn't look clean. So what we'll do is, there is no message, we have to say enter sentences first. So I'll print this message now. I'll take it out, and before this we'll say that okay, system.out.println, and we'll say enter sentences. This space is not looking nice over here. When it's a /t, it should look like a /t. So /t, done. And then we'll say that okay, string paragraph is equal to in dot next line. So once we do this, we have the sentence ready, and then we'll pass that sentence over here. Now, since we are passing that sentence over here, we'll have to have a constructor which will actually accept it. So we go over here, and here we'll say public frequency, and within the constructor we'll pass the paragraph. Any doubts till this point?
So there shouldn't we remove the extra enter we have?
That is not required. You'll see the technique which we'll be using to take it out, that will automatically handle that. Don't worry about that. So right now we now have the paragraph available within a constructor, and please understand we are only interested in the words, nothing else. Can you see that? No matter what is entered, we are only interested in the individual word. So let's say this is the sentence, right? So we are interested in the individual words. This is a string program and so on. So what we'll do is we'll first create an instance variable for storing the words. I'll call it just word right now. And then over here, I'll say word is equal to paragraph dot split, and we'll take a regular expression to split it either on a dot or a question mark or a comma or a space. Once you do this, let us print this so that you can see what is happening. So I'll say system.out.println, and this will remove later on, don't worry, this is just for understanding purposes. And here we'll say that okay, display the entire array, and for that we'll use arrays.toString so that we can get the entire array over here, and we'll call it word. So let's run this program.
So we haven't declared word as an array.
Oh yes, we forgot. So now the word is an array. So if we run the program now, see what happens. It will ask us to enter the word, and then I'll just copy paste that sentence which I've already copied. So I'll say Control Shift V over here, and oh, there is an error. Let's see what the error is.
So first we have to enter the number of sentences.
Hold on. Oh yes, I gave the wrong input. Sorry. So that was our error. So we'll just say 3 first over here. We press enter, and then it is finishing automatically. Why? Because 3 was followed by enter, and then that it took the enter sentences over here. So what we'll do is we'll have to do that slight correction. After entering over here, we'll have to get rid of the last new line which is there. So in order to get rid of the new line, we'll simply say in dot next line, and that will get rid of the new line. And once that is done, there was one more mistake, and that was this should have been a println, isn't it? So now if we run it again, it will ask us to enter the number of sentences, 3. It is asking us to enter a sentence. We enter the sentence, and when you press enter, see, we have our array words, and all the words are at individual locations. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then there should be one more /t over here. This is slightly out of alignment. So what we'll do is that after we had said enter sentences, we'll remove this ln from here, and we'll say over here /n/t. So that will take care of that. Okay, now once you are here at this line, we have separated all our words without any issues, and we also now know the length of the string in terms of number of words. Remember the first part? The first part was asking us for the total number of words contained in the string. So what we'll do is now we'll take one more variable over here. We'll call it private int. What to call it? Length or
Yes,
word
sir.
count? Let's say no. What will sound better? What will sound better?
So length.
Okay, length. So we'll say length, and just after this we'll say that okay, length is equal to word dot length, and once that is done, we can have our own function. We'll call it public int get length. Or why to store it unnecessarily? We can return it directly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll just say return word dot length. So that will take care of the length part, and we won't no longer need this variable. So is it okay till this point? Now what we need to do is we need to prepare the frequency table, and since we are preparing the frequency table, we'll create a function by the name of private void prepare frequency table, and then we'll automatically trigger this function from the constructor. So as soon as the words are separated, we'll proceed with the creation of the frequency table. Now, once we come to the frequency table, we have to do two things. First, we have to prepare the frequency table, and that is to be followed by sorting of the words. So first, what we'll be doing is we will be populating the arrays, and then we'll be sorting the arrays. Clear? Now, let's move on to the populating the arrays part. So I told you that we'll have a variable limit which will initially be to the last element, and as we are comparing the elements, we'll keep on bringing the limit down. So I'll take a variable, we'll call it int limit, and initially limit will be equal to word dot length, right? Now we need one more array for storing the frequency, so we'll create that array now. We'll say private int frequency, and the size of this array will be equal to the number of words. So here we'll say that okay, array frequency is equal to new int, and the size will be equal to the number of words. So we'll simply say word dot length. So that is also taken care of. Now we come to this portion. So we have our limit, so we'll run a loop for that. So we'll say that okay, int I is equal to 0, I is less than limit I plus plus. And then I told you that the inner loop will start from the next element. That means for the ith word, the inner loop will start from I plus 1. So we'll take another loop. We'll say that okay, int j is equal to I plus 1. Again, I is less than limit. No, sorry, j is less than limit. And then we'll say that okay, j plus plus. And now we come to the main part. Okay, one more thing we forgot. Initially, the whole frequency table should be equal to 1. So instead of taking another loop, while we are doing it, we'll keep on saying that, okay, frequency of I is equal to 1. So initially it will become 1, and then within the inner loop, as we'll find more words, we'll keep on increasing the frequency. Making sense till this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now what we do is we'll check. We'll say that, okay, if word of I, that is if ith word dot equals the jth word of j. If it is equal, then we have to do those things. Those things means we'll move the last word to that position. So we'll say that okay, word of j, where we have found the match, should now be equal to the last word. Last word is actually limit minus 1. Okay, that is the first part. Then we'll have to increase the corresponding frequency. So we'll say that okay, frequency of I plus plus. So the frequency will be increased by 1, and then the limit has to go down by 1. Plus, since we have already modified this and we have moved one word from below to that position, and we haven't checked that word against j, so to counter it, or rather to check it once more, we'll also decrease j1, so that that word, whatever has come from the last position to that position, can be checked once, right? So j minus minus. Now if I reach
Sir, I didn't understand the j minus minus.
see, please understand that j will move forward after that. What will happen to the last word to take care of that? You'll
Okay,
understand in some time. Don't worry. Let me complete first.
Yes, I got that.
Okay, so once this is done, once you have reached here, please note at this point of time, what is happening is that all the unique words have moved up, and then we need not go beyond limit now, right? So if I print it, just for showing you what has happened till this point of time, if I say that okay, int I is equal to 0, I is less than limit I plus plus, and then I print both the things, system.out.println, and I print the word, that is word of I. Then just to give a space, I say colon space, and then I say print the frequency also. So frequency of I. So now what will happen is that the output will not be sorted, but you will still be able to see the output right now. So let's do it once. So I'll just again copy that longer sentence. So let's say input is 3 and this is the sentence. So we go over here and I run the program once more. And now we'll enter the number of sentences 3, which is valid, and then we'll enter the sentence itself. Now notice what is happening. Oops, there is an error. Duplicate local variable I. Okay, let me check. Where is it? Okay, int I. There is, oh sorry, I created it at the wrong place. This has to be outside this, not inside this. That is over here. Okay, so we have to run the program again now. So 3 in clipboard is containing something else now. So I'll again copy, we go down over here and we say Control Shift V and I press enter. So see what is happening. We have the thing done. This is occurring 2 times, is occurring 3 times, A is occurring 1 times. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So now what we have to do? We have to sort the frequencies.
Frequency.
So what I'll do is I'll let it remain for some time because we'll be needing this loop when we are preparing the output. So in order to sort, we'll sort the frequency array, but whenever we are sorting the frequency, or rather whenever we are swapping the frequency, we'll also swap the corresponding words, right? So let's begin.
Yes.
So for swapping, I'll say int pass is equal to 0, pass is less than limit -1, isn't it? Pass plus plus. I'm going to use bubble sort, okay, because the number of elements are not too high. So pass is equal to 0. Then we'll have to compare the elements. So I'll say that, okay, int I or x, what will you prefer? Or let's call it position. Position is equal to, it's always better to write a program which documents itself. So position is equal to 0. Position is, now this is quite routine, but we have to do it somehow. So position is equal to 0. Position is less than limit -1 minus pass. Now please note, I mean, we have discussed it many times before, but it's not necessary to write minus pass over here, but for the sake of efficiency, in bubble sort, the elements are sorted from the back. So after 1 pass, 1 element is at its place. After 2 passes, 2 elements are at their places. So why run the loop till the end every time? So, and then we'll say that, okay, position plus plus. And now we'll check. We have to sort in the order of frequency. So if the frequency at position plus 1 is less than frequency at position, then we'll have to swap. And in order to swap, we need a temporary variable. So right over here, we'll say int temp, and we'll need 2 temporary variables, one for temp frequency and one for the temp word, right? Because the type is different. So we come over here and first we'll swap the frequency. So we'll say that, okay, temp frequency is equal to frequency of position plus 1. Then we'll say frequency of position plus 1 is equal to frequency of position, and then we'll say that frequency of position is equal to 10. So that takes care of the first thing. Now we do, oh sorry, not temp, temp frequency it is. So FREQ. So now is it okay? Yes, now it's okay. Now we'll do the same thing for the word also. So we'll say temp word is equal to word of position plus 1, then word of position plus 1 is equal to word of position, word of position, and then word of position is equal to temp, word of position is equal to temp word. So this does the sorting. We can improve it further by checking that if it is sorted, then don't sort. Should we do it?
Yes, sir, we can do it.
We can do it. So let's do that also. So we'll say that, okay, Boolean swapped, even though the program will still work, but let's do it. Initially swapped is equal to false. Before we begin the inner loop, we'll say swapped is equal to false. And if there is swapping, we'll say swapped is equal to true. And if we find that there is no swapping in the inner loop, that means that the array is already sorted. We won't take further loops. So we'll say over here that if there is no swapping, if not swapped, then break. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, once this is done, now what we can do, if we, again, this is why I never deleted that portion. Now if we run it, our output will be displayed. So what we'll do is, but this is not the proper way to do it. Let's print it properly, okay? This is not a good way. So what we'll do is, we'll create a variable for the output. We'll say that, okay, private string output. Initially in the constructor, we'll say that output is equal to nothing. So over here, we'll say that, okay, output is equal to nothing. And then when we have done everything, from here, we'll start adding the output. So we'll say that output is equal to, we have to have two things in the output, the word, then a slash t. Let's give two slash t's. What will you say, two slash t or one slash t? Let us have two
So
slash
we
t.
can say two slash t's, because if the word is
Word is
longer,
longer.
then
Yeah, exactly. The word
it,
might be longer. And then we have to say frequency. So we'll say frequency. And then we need a new line. So this takes care of the header. Inside, instead of printing it, we'll say output plus is equal to, and one more thing, there is a slash t over here in the beginning. Can you see that?
yes, sir.
So that means that we'll have to have a slash t here also. So we'll say output is equal to slash t plus the word followed by two slash t's and followed by the frequency and followed by a new line.
Yes.
So that's it.
So the braces is extra after frequency.
Oh yes, that is the println braces which was still there. Okay, so once that is done, one more thing, and that is, we'll say public
String
string
function.
to string, so that if someone prints the object directly, we'll just say return output. Now let us complete the driver function. So we have done till calculating the frequency. Now we have to print two things. The first is the length, system.out.println, and that was a pretty long message, so I'll just copy the message from there. So the message is total number of words followed by a space. So we come over here and we say that slash t, total number of words, and then we'll just call our function. What was the name of the function? Get length will show us the length, and then we'll have to say system.out.println, and we'll simply say print the frequency object to print the frequency, because we already have the toString function in place. So let's run the program once more, probably the final time. So I just copy this longer version, Control C. We go over here, we run the program, and let's go down. There it is. The number of sentences are 3. We enter the sentences, we press enter, and there we are. Okay, a string program. Yes, this is, any repetition? No. Yes, any doubts?
No, sir, but just one thing, we have to remove that print from the constructor.
Oh
Print
yeah, oh yeah,
statement.
yeah, okay, that debugging, that
Yes, sir.
one which I entered for understanding purposes. Yes, this is totally useless now. Okay, so that's complete the question. Any suggestion, clarification?
No, sir, it's okay.
Okay then, that's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.